Hello there, my name is Jackson O'Brien. I'm the head coffee educator at Peace Coffee, and here today I am going to tell you all about how to make a Hario V60. The V60 is a marvelous little brewer that is great for making 1 cup of coffee at a time. So if you're the kind of person who likes to have the freshest cup of coffee available at all times, or if you just drink about 1 cup of coffee a day, it's a great brewer for that purpose. So first off, what we're going to do is ready the brewer. I'm going to grab myself a filter and I'm going to fold over that seam, pop that in there, and then just rinse it with hot water. This does multiple things. One is it kind of clings the filter to the side of the brewer. This way, all the water is going to flow through the coffee bed at the bottom and it's not going to flow outside the filter and around the sides. Number 2 is if there's any kind of paper taste that's present in that filter that could end up in your cup, by rinsing it, we drastically reduce that. That's very important if you have brown paper filters, unbleached filters. Lastly is the hot water is going to heat up the ceramics and the glass of this brew setup, and that way none of the water is going to cool as the coffee brews, and the whole thing's going to remain at constant temperature. Incidentally, if you like your coffee super hot, now is a good time to rinse your cup with hot water as well. Next, we're going to measure out our coffee. What we're going to do is we're going to use 15 grams of coffee and 250 grams of water. I've got this scale here. If you don't have a scale because gremlins took it or something, and you're waiting for a new one to come, then it's going to be about 1 scoop. It's included with the V60. Mine was just shy of 15 grams. There it is. And we're going to grind that on number 11 on the Baratza Encore here. You want the texture of these grounds to be pretty fine. It's pretty standard drip grind. Should be a bit coarser than Morton table salt. Put that into our brewer, tear out the whole thing, and then we're going to start pouring. We're going to pour 250 grams total of water, and the water should be around 200 degrees Fahrenheit. If you don't have a kettle that is capable of holding things at a specific temperature or don't have a thermometer, an easy way to do that is to bring something to a rolling boil, take the lid off, wait for 30 seconds, and then put the lid back on. That 30 seconds of evaporation will cool it right to 200 degrees Fahrenheit. We're going to pour in multiple stages. The first pour is called the bloom. So I'm going to pour just to completely saturate the grounds. This should go up to about 30 grams, but if it takes a little bit more, that's fine. The important point is that all the grounds should get wet. This initial wetting of the grounds is going to cause them to swell and it's going to cause them to bubble. What you're seeing as that bubbling is happening is carbon dioxide gas. It's a natural part of the roasting process, is releasing from the grounds. That carbon dioxide gas is an impediment to brewing. So we want to get all of that out so that we can then get all the water in where that carbon dioxide was and really extract those good flavors. It takes about 30 seconds after you pour. Once it's stopped bubbling, then the bloom is done. Now we want to do our first real brew pour, and we're going to pour until we hit about 100 grams on this scale. Once again, the important thing is getting everything evenly wet. Once you've hit about 100 grams, you're going to stop, wait about 10 to 15 seconds, and observe the brew bed as the water settles down. What you should see is that some of the top of the slurry will have a little bit of grounds floating on it, or some grounds kind of clinging to the sides of the filter. What we're going to do is aim our next pour at those dark spots on top and to those grounds around the sides. We'll pour until we hit 150 on the scale, and then once again stop. Wait for about 10-15 seconds, then do the exact same thing. Look for those dark spots on top of the slurry, look for those grounds clinging to the sides of the filter, and aim your pour there. We're going to do our next pour up to 200 grams. Hopefully by this point, you really pushed all of those grounds that were floating and clinging down to the bottom of the filter. At this point, you should see that the slurry should have some bubbles that are popping and kind of clearing up, and no real grounds should be clinging to the sides of the filter. That's a good thing. That tells you that all the grounds are submerged and all the water is flowing through it evenly. Wait that next 10 seconds, and then we're going to pour our last pour up to 250 grams. Now we just need to wait for this to finish dripping through. The total brew time from when you start pouring the bloom at the very beginning until the last drip drips through at the very end should take around 2.5 to 3 minutes. Once you're done, the brew bed should be completely flat, should not be concave or convex on the top. It should be nice and flat at the bottom of the conical filter. Once it finishes dripping, right about now, then we take it off, throw the filter into the compost bin, and then we have ourselves one beautiful cup of coffee. Thanks so much for visiting us to learn how to brew a V60. We hope you enjoy, we hope you learned something, and we hope we helped you to brew you. Skål!